My intro. Hello, everyone. This is Joan Turner from the Haverhill Arts Association, back with Susan Kneeland of Kneeland Fine Art
Studio.
Kneeland Studio of Fine Art. See, I've been practicing and still got it wrong. And she's been doing a number of demos for us, and she has agreed to do one more. So go ahead, my darling, take over. Tell us what you're doing.
Okay. Well, Joni, thank you for being here today. You're really helping the association.
So are you.
Joni's been going through quite a bit of work to make sure that these videos are turning out well. So thank you, Joni.
You're very welcome.
These workshops are being given in lieu of having the Saturday morning portrait workshops that were the second and fourth Saturday every month. Because of COVID, they're on hold, and we are hoping to keep our community gathered together as well as newbies to keep in mind that we are part of an association and to keep interest up in different types of art that can be created. I work in all media today. I have made a decision to do a charcoal drawing. I would like to talk to you about the paper that I'm going to use, the tools that I'll be using, the piece that I chose to draw, why I chose it, so that you get a more broad idea of what's going on with this. And if you are interested in trying it and getting materials, hopefully you will be able to do that. So I agreed to do an animal in charcoal. Charcoal I find is easy because I'm not dealing with the interpretation of color, much like when I did the portrait demonstration of my friend Mindy. So these are the two images. This is my newest cat, Lucy. She's a year old, and I took this out near my rose bush. So this is one choice that I decided upon. These are the little swans that are over in the bog nearby.
Hold them up this way, darling. We're getting a little bit of glare.
Oh, sure.
Okay. That's okay. I can see it good now. Okay. Gotcha.
And so when I was looking at both and really throwing it back at Joni, what does she think? We both agree that this, although cats are done often and you don't see swans as much, this would be easier to describe. It has far more detail to explain. And this would probably, I'd really like to do this in color. Mm-hmm. So we settled on this cat. This is Lucy. So that was our first decision. And again, they were just chosen for interest. Now, so the next thing that we deal with when we decide what we're going to draw, how do we want to compose our piece of art? Because composition is one of the elements of drawing. If you have good lines, good shapes, value, composition, and color, and you unify your work, you should have a beautiful piece of art. So one of the considerations we're going to take today is the composition of this piece. This piece is composed lengthwise, fine for a photograph, fine for just to have. However, I don't feel as though it's balanced. You always have to know what the star of the show is. Well, it's obvious. It's the cat. I'm going to eliminate the rose because it's not about the cat. And it's a nice support for the cat, but not in black and white.
So you're talking about taking artistic license.
I am definitely using artistic license, and that's a beautiful thing about being an artist. You don't have to draw. You have to draw what you see, but you don't have to put everything in if it doesn't work for your piece. So the other thing is this particular image has a lot of empty space, all right? And it's very interesting to make sure that this space feels balanced. Well, for me, there's just too much of nothing going on 1/4 of the page. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut this down. I've already cut my paper. And I'm going to cut it down into a square because I believe a square is a much more intriguing composition. So I'm going to go over to my old-fashioned paper cutter and cut it into a square.
This is a great paper cutter.
Oh,
I remember them in school.
It was donated to me, and I'm so grateful because all you can buy now are the plastic ones, and they're so lightweight.
They're
I think this even has.
Awful.
Yeah, it came from Portland, Oregon.
I love it.
And it says, I shouldn't say what it says, property of U.S. government. But it was a gift.
It was a gift. You didn't hear that part.
And they're not using it anymore. So this is 8.5 by 8.5.
I was just going to ask you that. Did you measure it, my darling?
I did. Okay. I measured it. I am going to take a little bit of this white off because I find it distracting. And there we are. This, to me, sets the cat more in the middle. I don't mind that he's at the bottom. I might bring him up on the page.
I was just going to ask you
Yeah,
that.
I think I'm gonna take a little off the top. So
like a haircut. Take a little off the top.
That's right. And so this is going to turn it into an exact. I'll do 8 by 8. Here's my 8. 7.5.
7.5 by 7.5. It's going to end up being a 3 by 3 by the time she's done.
Today I'm drawing an ear. You'll love it. Very easy. Okay, there we go.
There we go.
That feels way better.
That does
okay,
feel
so
way
we have
better.
7.5 by
Okay.
7.5.
7.5.
Now I want to talk to you about the paper that we're going to use.
I was just going to say, how do you choose the paper?
So there's different types of charcoal. There is stick charcoal, which most people think of when they think charcoal. Oh, it's messy, it's dirty. It comes in sticks, and it has some weight to it. And yes, it is dirty right away, pretty messy. So I'm not choosing that type of charcoal. What I really enjoy is working in charcoal pencil. So I've got an array of pencils here, and I'll kind of lay them out. The pencils are pretty nice to have because on the side it tells you just how the charcoal is going to feel. For example, anything that says B on it is soft. That works for both graphite pencils and charcoal pencils. And H means hard. Well, what is hard and soft in a pencil? Well, soft pencils, regular pencils, just melt. They're very soft. They get very dark, and they melt as you draw with them. Maybe one side wears down nicely. Hard pencils are so crunchy to draw with that if you draw really hard, it goes through many pages. It can leave indents in your paper. So with charcoal, and also in graphite, H and B's make different marks. H's are very, very light, and B's can get very, very dark. So in charcoal, they're all burnt wood, so they're all going to be black. So they're all going to have the exact same effect, whether they're hard or soft. However, for the artist's use, you're going to feel the difference. And hard ones don't spread as well, and dark ones can go dark more easily because they melt more quickly. So I've got an array of pencils.
Do they have numbers on them like graphite pencils?
They have numbers, right? Well, what's nice is not only do they have numbers, but they also tell you, so you don't have to guess.
Yeah,
6B is extra soft. So that's going to be really dark.
Yeah.
2B is medium.
Okay, so the numbers are intensity. The
numbers,
softer. Higher they go,
hard
the
or soft.
softer.
The higher they go. In B's, the higher they go, the softer. In H's, the higher they go, the harder.
Got it.
Yeah, the higher the number, the more of whichever property that pencil is calling itself, the more of that property it will have. So, I hope that wasn't too confusing.
Not at all, not at all.
So, we're using charcoal pencil. I also have some other tools I wanted to share. These great big sticks, these are called stomps, and these little sticks are called tortillions. What they are they're blending tools for charcoal. You can see a lot of them are well used, some of them are new. If I have a big piece, I'm going to grab this stomp. If I have a little tiny piece, I have one that me and the kids will call the Lollipop Sticker. So this will get in for the little details. Now, what these are tightly rolled paper. Could you make it yourself? You could, but it wouldn't be as effective. And these are very inexpensive because it's tightly rolled paper. And they, again, are used for blending. Stomps, tortillions. I'll be using both of those. Suppose my stomp or tortillion gets dirty while I'm using it. Well, then...
That's what I do, too.
Then they sell sandpaper on a stick.
Yeah.
Now, what I can do with this is, suppose I'm using this, and let's get one that has like a more blunt end. Okay, it's been well used. It's blunt. If I just push it, not only can I clean it, if I want, I can get this slightly sharper. Never as sharp as it was. And why would I want to bother when I have choices? I don't want to spend my time navigating a tool when I have a bunch of them. This little block has about 10 sheets on it. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, we can. Awesome.
You can hear how many. So when you get it full, you just rip it off. Also, I have other grains of sandpaper. This is sandpaper. So these are more coarse. You can really just
So what would you use the more coarse for?
So I might use the more coarse for this. Like if I really... But watch how rough that is. It doesn't work well. What I might use that for is charcoal can be crumbly when you go to sharpen them. Especially if they're wicked soft. The sharpener will eat them. Like it ate this one.
Okay.
So see how it's all uneven. I can take coarse and sharpen my pencil. I could also use a knife, but on charcoal, I've found over the years and years, you just end up breaking the charcoal.
That's exactly what I do.
Over and over. Yeah.
You know what else I use a blending, the block for is to create a point. Sometimes you want a flat.
Right,
flat.
exactly.
Do you do that?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay, so that's the different tools. That's the different mediums and different
Can we
things that
swing
go with
back?
it.
I have one more question.
Sure.
Tortillas and stomps. Now, one is wound tightly. The other one kind of looks like I relate everything to food, so I'm going to say an ice cream cone.
Okay.
Why do they do that, and what is the difference?
I believe that it's just the company itself. If they took, like, tortillas aren't going to think about profit for the company. If the company takes and slowly rolls a big chubby thing like this, it's going to use a lot more than if they just fill it with pulp and do a wrap around it. Gotcha. If you notice it, it can still be peeled, but it's nothing like these.
Yeah, those can be peeled.
And so these, you can even see the little ridges. I don't know if you can, those little ridges. You can see that it's rolled. This, you notice, it's rolled, but not in the same way. Tight. I've never cut one in half.
Yeah.
You might make me.
I was just going to say, I never even thought to cut them in half.
To see what's going on in the middle?
Yeah.
I'm sure you could go online and find out.
I'm sure.
What the heck they're doing.
I use those all the time. I don't like the tortillas.
Oh. Today I'll be using the tortillas for a lot of the details.
So I'm excited
to let me in there.
Yeah, I know that.
And I have one more tool. And this is back to this box.
Peanuts. Oh, no.
Yes, we have.
We got to eat while we're going along.
Old cashews.
Old cashews.
So there's the piece of charcoal I initially talked about, the charcoal stick. However, in here, I've got what's called vine charcoal and willow charcoal.
Which is?
So vines are just what they say. They're vines of trees. They're burnt and pressed together. And willow, it would be willow branch. Notice the shape. Look at how they're bent.
Yeah.
They have no weight to them. They're virtually weightless.
They're weightless.
So the reason for these, let me get a piece of paper and I'll show you why I would use the stick.
This is cool.
Suppose I've got a drawing of the cat, and I want to do the background. Let's just pretend that I have a cat on here. Meow. And I want to do the background. I can take one of these sticks, either willow or vine. The only difference is a little shade of the blackness. I can color the background very, very quickly so that I don't have to use a little teeny tiny pencil tip to color everything in. I use the vine charcoal.
Nice.
I'd color it in much more efficiently. And then the beautiful part of it is it wipes away quite readily with a tissue, which I'm going to grab.
That's pretty cool.
And you'll be surprised how much of it wipes away. Sometimes we have to put on more. You'll notice this ran down. I wouldn't use it this way on a finished piece. So I'm just going to take a tissue and push like the dickens. And even if I do this, do you notice the hard cat image is
Yeah.
still there?
Yep.
That's because this is so much crispier, so it never really goes away.
Cool.
And that would be a good way to do a background. And there's one more tool I'm going to use. But I want to bring you in the other room and show you papers, tell you a little bit about the paper.
We're ready. We are
Come
ready.
on, Joni. I read them out.
Ready.
It's all different types of paper. You're going to see paper that says charcoal paper. Not my favorite. It has stripes in it, and the stripes show.
Is this them? Am I in the right place?
No, I don't. I have some out there.
Oh.
I could grab it.
No, well, I just want to make sure I was in the right place. Okay, pastels. Oh, these are pastel papers.
When you see charcoal paper like this, I mean, it's telling you. Yeah, that's
Charcoal paper.
However, what I don't care for is when you get into it and you draw on it, it has stripes that you can't see, but when you go to draw on it, they show up.
Like a weave, like a texture.
In a bad weave.
Yeah.
It's
Not
very
a good one. Not a
distracting.
good one.
So I don't use charcoal paper.
Do they have different rag or surface charcoal papers like they do for watercolor paper?
Not charcoal that I've found. What I use instead is, you still need paper with tooth, and by tooth means texture. The texture is to grab onto the charcoal. If you try charcoal on just a piece of, say, 8x11 paper, computer paper, it just kind of slides across, and so nothing grabs that roughness of the charcoal.
Smooth.
So I use pastel paper.
You do.
Comes in a lot of colors,
Yep.
a lot of brands, but my favorite is Canson. I'll tell you why. Canson, this has to go with surface texture again. Canson doesn't have much texture, but if you look at this, and you're never going to see it on here, it has a weave to it. Yes, you will if I draw on it. It has a weave to it, but I don't care for the weave. And it just doesn't take the pastel or the charcoal the same way. See all the little bumps?
Yep, you can.
It goes inside those bumps and doesn't leave you with a very clean image. Versus this, which is also a textured paper. It's this brand, Canson. Look at how smooth it is. It's just nice and smooth. There's no paper texture to fight with and nothing distracting. That's a big difference between this holy paper
And you use the
and this
same
unholy paper.
and you use the same piece of charcoal.
That was the
for
same
both.
piece of charcoal.
Oh, okay, cool.
So and it's a personal thing.
Yeah.
Somebody else might like that texture.
True.
So that's why it's all out there.
Yeah, we can
It's
see
to
that.
each his own. I prefer this.
Yep, that's nice.
So there's different brands, there's different types and different textures. This is another piece of paper. I'm not sure what brand. It's got that same texture thing going as the other one.
Yeah.
The charcoal pushes in, and I think it steals from the image.
Yeah, it does. You can see
it's-
like a weave
Yeah,
pattern.
and it's almost distracting.
Yes.
So that's the types of paper. There's one more tool that I'll be using today, and it's an eraser on a stick. The eraser. I'm not going to use white charcoal, although there is white charcoal.
There is.
I'm not going to use it today because it sullies the black.
Now that's an old-fashioned word. Sullies.
So it dirties the black, and it makes the black look very gray.
Don't be aging us, woman.
Very dull. I got a million. It is. Hey, I can own
It
that.
is what it is.
It is what it is.
It sullies
Does this
my
say
work.
young? I think not.
Oh yeah, that's the people who pay lots of money to get their
So
hair like
look
that.
at what I can draw
Oh,
with.
nice, yeah.
So this becomes a drawing tool. Okay,
Sure,
it'll bring
sure.
light back where I need light. The only thing you need to remember is don't do that.
Don't do that. Yeah,
So
that'll do it.
the last thing I have would be, I think it was a makeup brush, or it could be what's called a
Hake brush.
paintbrush, but it's called I forget.
I had one that was called a hake.
A sponge. Nope, not a
Not a
hake.
hake. All right.
But if I just tap at it,
It's just a very,
easily cleans it
very
off.
soft,
Yep.
like a makeup, like a blush brush. So you guys will have to ask your girlfriends.
and the one, I'll go to CVS and just get a makeup brush that's puffy.
Yeah.
So so as much as this paper is smooth, this Canson Mietiente's pastel paper. Also, by the way, they sell this in individual sheets the size of this desk. for $3.
Yeah, I've seen them.
This is more expensive than regular paper because it's thicker. You'll notice it's a 98-pound. Regular paper is usually around 30.
Now, obviously, this doesn't weigh 98 pounds.
No, it does not.
This refers to pressure used to press it,
the
right?
pressure used to press
Okay.
it, exactly. So the higher the pressure, the higher the number, the thicker the paper.
The higher the price.
Yes, that's true. So on this, you'll notice this side, I was talking about how smooth it is. Let me show you why I want to use, why there's a side to use and a side not to use. When I have my students working, I have them hold it up to the light, which you probably aren't going to see. One side has extreme texture. The other side has the tooth from it, but not the bumps. So this side feels smooth,
Yeah.
but not as smooth
Let
as
me
regular paper.
flip it for a second.
What's that?
Let's flip it for a second.
And then, watch what this side does. It does what that other paper does.
Oh.
Okay?
Oh.
So I don't want to use the textured side.
Yeah.
I want to use the smooth side.
I have to tell you, students ask me that all the time. Which side do I use? And I say, feel it, whichever
Yeah.
side feels better.
Yeah. So smooth will give you this look. The bumpy will give you this
The
look.
texture.
And I'm really not a big fan. Sometimes I do portraits on that side. But for the most part, I'm having my students use
I'm with
this.
you. I'm with you.
So I'm just going to wash my hand off and we'll begin the cat.
Very cool. Very cool. Speaking of kitty cat, I see. Look at this cat. Gotta love it. That cat has a person mouth. I love it.
And those drawings of eyes up there was a competition I had with a student. She was kind of waning in her interest. So we'd compete by drawing eyes each week.
I love it.
And it brought her through her dry spell. and
Sure.
got
So
her
we have
through.
like a horse eye or something, a cat eye and a human eye.
It's a dog, a black
it's a
dog, a
dog.
cat, and the bottom one is Taylor Swift's eye.
Ah.
And my other cats are up there, Rosie and Striper on that wall.
Rosie and Stripes. So these are really your kitty cats here. Oh,
Stripe
there
isn't
they are.
with me anymore. But
No.
Rosie is.
Across the
Rosie's on the
Rainbow Bridge.
So.
Oh,
Yes,
mirror.
Rainbow
Don't get in the
Bridge.
mirror. All right. Look at these little buttons. This is the best studio. I can play in here for a very long time.
Aw, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right, so
The swing. The swing's
the
the
first
best
thing I'm
part.
going to do is what
Yes.
we always do when we're starting a piece. We're going to break it down into halves and quarters. So I've already taken and cut the piece of paper that I'm going to be using. It is the Canson Mitiantes. I've cut it to a square. I've looked at the right side, so I don't have the side with
That would be
texture.
funny.
Oh, do you know how many classes I've started like that? And you'd think, after all this time, I'd say, let's make sure the paper's on the right side. Sometimes I could say willy-nilly. That would again show it.
That's right. Yeah.
So I've got this cut in halves and quarters by making slight marks that will disappear. I had this half and quartered, but I cut it down.
So now
So I'm going to
redo
half
it.
and quarter this. I make my half marks longer and my quarter marks as polka dots, so I know where I am when I'm referencing back and forth quickly.
Almost like a grid. I use it like a grid.
I'm really against gridding.
I am too.
Gridding teaches you how to count. It doesn't teach you how to draw.
That's exactly right.
So
But
I'd
I
call
like
it
that.
probably a loose grid.
Okay.
And all you use it for is the beginning to get your piece translated onto the paper. Get it on the paper, it'll be wrong. Spend the rest of your time fixing it.
Fix it.
I'm going to tape this so only my eyes move. So I'm not a whirling dervish turning around to see what I'm looking at to draw it. I'm going to put that right where I can see it nicely. Notice I was really bright. I didn't cover those marks.
You did not.
I covered the old one though.
Guide dots.
Guides, yep, they're called guide points. So,
Guide points.
here we go. I'm going to take, and I also want to take my paper a little bit, because usually I work on charcoal sitting down, but we figured that it'd be good to keep it upright for the viewers. So, I'm going to take a light charcoal pencil. I'm going to use a 2HB. And I'm going to make some general ideas of where Lucy will fit on this page. So generally speaking, at the quarter, the side of the ear is about this close. At the half, it's in about this much more. The neck, where the back hits the face is here, right below that. So somewhere around here. The body goes off somewhere around here. The top of the head at the halfway point here is right below that. The edge of this ear is right between a little bit somewhere around here, and the very top is about there. The very top, did I say the top on that yet? It's kind of right about here. This dent is somewhere in this area. This dent
Love the terminology.
is somewhere
Poor
in this
Lucy's
area.
got dents.
And so you can already see, the other thing I wanted to show was how to enlarge. So once you do this, you can make it grand or really miniature. I had a student for a while who really insisted she couldn't draw small, and we kept using this system, which is the way to do it, and she finally ended up being able to draw as small as a stamp. She didn't like it, but she knew how.
She knew how to do it. At least you have the option. And I like the fact that you're planning it out like that, because a lot of times I get students that think they should just, they have a fixed mindset. They think you either have it or you don't. And they're not always willing to say, okay, I have to learn this. You
really got to do this foundation work.
Absolutely.
So at the halfway on this side, generally speaking, it's somewhere around here. The chin at the middle, pretty close to the bottom, maybe around there. And then the chest goes off a little closer to this quarter. Now, that's pretty big. There's not much going on. So my next, I've got all my guide points for me. You may find you need more guide points, and I know it's very light. I want to get a little closer.
I wanted to,
There's hardly any marks on there.
Yeah, and they're light, so
I used
they're
a
not
light
going to
pencil
interfere.
because it's going to be wrong, and I'm going to want to tweak it. So generally speaking, I said the ear starts here. I'm not holding my pencil like this and drawing, because I had to push the pencil on. I'm guessing. So to hold the pencil back, the further back, I have to be able to control the pencil. So some people can't go back as far. But I just take it and kind of pinch it. And I say, okay, I'm here. It goes in. At the halfway, it's going to be, generally speaking, there. So I notice there's a little bump. I already told myself it would be there. Whether it's right or wrong, we'll find out. Once it hits here, does it continue in? Yes, to about there. I know I'm headed for this chin, so I can do a simple, okay, buddy, you're going to the chin. I can watch this. The chin is its own little cup. So I'm going to remind myself, like, okay, somewhere in there is the cup. Then the face rounds, goes up, and kind of continues out. This little lump I'm watching is right about here. Did you see I had it up? When I went back and checked, it was right above the half. So I had it up here thinking and not seeing. Not thinking. So there we go here. Over it goes. When I want to get a lean to something, even if I'm being general, I can put this on it and do a follow-through line. If this just kept going, it'd run off right about here. That's going to help me get the lean. So the ear will lean something like that. This ear will lean something like that. I've got the lean, not necessarily the size.
That helps. That helps.
And here we go.
Yeah, that's great.
So that's step one. The next thing I want to do is find something to commit to, because once I make the commitment of what I believe is real and accurate on the page, from that point on, that will be what I use to measure everything else. So I'm going to try to place an eye where it belongs. So generally, we're back to general. Generally speaking, the top of the eye, I'm going to do the left eye, is right about there below the quarter, a half. So somewhere there. See how wide it is? I'm not worried about where, just somewhere there. Is the other eye even? Yeah, it is, for the most part.
Close enough.
The inside of the eye will be about here. The outside of the eye will be around here. And the bottom of the eye will be, what? If that's right. I don't know, those look a little wonky. Right around here. The nose sits below the quarter, which I didn't mark on this. Somewhere around here, which tells me, okay, I'm near that cup. So I'm getting okay there.
Yeah.
This eye, the edge of this one, is kind of around here. The top we already said is even. The other side of it, I can influence. And when a lot of times I'll see an artist do this, or my students, and they influence it. It's over here. If you find yourself not sure, take your tool and plumb it, P-L-U-M-B, like a plumb bob that a carpenter would use to make a straight line. If I hold it like this and close one eye, I can't influence it. So I'm going to close one eye, and I can see that it goes right to here. I'm going to explain that again, or are we good?
Explain again.
Okay. Suppose I want to know where this goes. Well, all along I've been doing this or this. But a lot of times we might do this. And then we go to draw it, and it's not where it belongs. So in order to avoid finding out where it belongs, I hold it at the top and it's loose so I don't influence it. I can put it, I won't put it against it, but I can put it close, come out and close one eye, and it says it's right there.
Right there.
And then I can just come here, do the same. And I'm in the general idea. Now, doesn't it look like there's a lot of head up here? Your head, your own head would tell you like, oh my gosh, first of all, he has square eyes, which is really spooky. But it would tell you like, oh, the eyes can't be that low. Don't, and my halves and quarters aren't really even. But they are that low. If you look at the cat, there's this much here, there's that much there, almost like a human. Okay?
Yeah.
So, I'm kind of a little late for this. But I'm going to take an eye and I'm going to commit to the eye. So, I'm just going to look at it and I'm going to say, well, I know the top is here. And when I'm looking at it, I'm still using the crunchy pencil. And I know that it's shaped like this. I said the bottom's here, but it's not the very bottom everywhere. It kind of gets there. So I'm not just going to go dropping down. I'm looking at where it hits that bottom. Where it comes up the tallest before it turns isn't at the top. It's here. So I'll come up to there, and I'm already outside. I have to be careful. I'm outside my guide point. Comes to there, and then it turns. So I'm starting to get a little more specific. So I feel like, okay, that's all right. I want to go in and I want to put my values in. So the first thing I ask myself, are there any bright whites to look out for? And sometimes people will say, oh, yeah, that's white in there. It's not white. This is white.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't have to watch out for white. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to color the eye in. And I'm not pushing a lot because it's not time to push. Because it's still general. The next thing that I'm going to do is use a very soft pencil. I'm going to try a 2B. And I'm going to draw what I perceive as the dark outside. So this is where I usually am sitting. Okay. Color here. Yeah, this might make a bad sound. Let me lean it a little. Oh, there we go. Can you see it okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm coming up like this. I definitely see that there's dark cutting this off. And this is more round inside than I said. I'm watching the dark. I'm asking myself, well, how wide is it? Does it do anything different? Does it come up the way I said? It does, but look at how wide the dark is here. I'm going to get that a little wider. And then I'm going to come up. If I look at it, I can almost see a crescent moon of dark. Right there. So I'm just going to make sure I have that crescent moon of dark. The next thing that I'm going to do is squint through my eyelashes and see if my dark shapes look like those. Feel pretty good about them. I say, yeah, for now, they're good. I want to get the pupil of the eye. I ask myself different things. Does the black hit the top? Not in my view. Is it halfway down? A little more than halfway down. Is it centered? This is wider than that in my view. But I know it's centered because I drew that dark. So I'm going to say it's here. And I look at the space beside it to see how much room I need around it. I also don't see an entire black shape, so I'm going to draw around what's light and leave it out. So he's going to look really strange for a minute. And then I also notice there's a little bit of dark here. And where you're using black and white, kind kind of makes it easier. This is darker than what I said. This has a little darkness. Now I'm going to go in with my 6B, which is wicked dark and wicked soft. And I'm going to say, all right, I'm feeling pretty confident about this. So I'm going to just push this on a little more. I'm going to push the darks where I want them to really show. And this will allow me to spread because the 6B is very mushy. Up we go, over we go. And there almost seems to be some kind of little hair coming off. Now, I put little cues for myself. I'll use my blending tool next. I'm going to come in and I'm going to stomp this whole eyeball. If you've decided to use a stomp as your blending tool, then if you stomp one thing, everything has to be stomped because your piece will not be unified. So on I go with this. I feel, now this is a drawing tool. I can spread this. I can move it around. I know that I've got some darkness up here. I'm going to play with that a little. I got this in, and now I can refine my the bottom of the pupil, which goes to a point, but I feel like it's up there. So I've got that, and I talked about using an eraser as a drawing tool. However, I didn't bring it out here. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to erase out my light. So generally speaking, it seems like it's here. It definitely cuts into the eyeball. Seems to do something like that. And for now, I'm going to say, all right, that's sufficient. I might get a little more light in here. I see some. You see a little bit of light under there. And maybe some here, a little bit. Might be a little lighter than I wanted, than I saw it. Maybe bring some here. And that's my beginning. I feel like the pupil's too wide and doesn't point enough. I'm just going to point it. And then I can always draw over that. And so I just actually won't draw. All I can do is use my stomp, push it in, and say, all right, you're good. So far, so good. I'm going to come up off of that now. I'm not going to go to the other eye right now. I'm going to come up and I'm going to make this little crown up here. I know that it goes higher than the halfway by about this much, and that it reaches its peak right at the halfway. So that's where it's going to peak, which makes it easy to do this. It goes to there. Then this is here, generally speaking, and here, generally speaking. And it doesn't hit the top, and it leans. If I wanted to know how long that truly is, well, I've committed to an eye. So if I want to know how long that middle is, I pinch off my pencil, put one in there, pinch this one off, and say, okay, the eye's this wide. That's the same height as the top of the hill to the top of that mark. So then I take it here and say, okay, that's this. There's the top of the hill. It tells me to be a little higher. So now I know I've got the exact height to it. When this comes down, we're here. And that has a lean. Now that automatically helps me get my head a little bit better. I'm going to do a nice light drawing. I'm going to come around here.
Which pencil are you using?
Right now I'm on the hard pencil because what I'm trying to do is put enough pieces on here so that to me, I understand the marks I've made and where they're located. So these are visual cues that I'm giving myself. I don't want to put the darkest dark on because I'm still in the general to specific period. But I need to lay enough on there so I know where the pieces fit. Making art is like putting a puzzle together. It doesn't matter which way you hold it or draw it. But you can't put this in and hope to put that in and have them be in the right place.
Yeah.
Everything has to compare to something on it. So as I come down, what I'm looking for is going around my mound. Like, why do I see the light mound? Because it's dark beside it. Does the dark hit the middle of the eye? No. In my view, it's hitting here. Does it go past the eye? Yeah, right about at this height, it's coming out. And then it's doing something. I've got a little more up here. And this is starting to hone in on things for me. So I've got that going on. Is there dark underneath that I can grab? Yep. How high does it go? Just at the bottom of the pupil. It comes out. It does something like this, generally speaking. I don't want to lock in anywhere because it's way too early. I see a triangle, and I see that there's some white or black. And so I'm feeling like, okay, Lucy's eye is probably around here. And this is where the work, for me, slows down a little bit so that I can understand what I'm doing. Now I feel kind of confident. I'm going to push it in a little more. Nothing specific yet. If this, I need to see if this triangle, this little black one, is as low as the bottom of the eye. And it's kind of to here, so I've got it in the right place. So now I'm going to get the eye exactly right. I'm going to go back to my 6B, which is nice and dark. I'm going to stare at it for a minute, and I'm going to put this on, this little triangle. This dark triangle does not hit the dark of the eye. So I've got a little space of white between it. Then I already told myself this is coming here. This is going under there. And look at the black hits the black. So it's called a lost edge. I can't see the difference between the edge of the eye and the cheek fur. Out we come now. It's leaving again. Right? It has that little slice of light. I'm going up here. I'm coloring out. I know that's in there. I don't care. I can erase it. If I draw it now, I'll probably have to move it 80 million times, so I'm going to ignore it. I also want to know how far out to bring this. Initially, I told you this corner was this far into there, and that far over. I feel like, okay, that is good. I'm going to adhere to that. That tells me how I'm putting things on. So up I go. I've got this thing here, then it's kind of scooping around. And I already know I'm safe going out here. So I've got that. Right here, off of this eye, I've got this marbled color. But this is light and this is dark. So instead of drawing the light, I'm going to draw why I see the light, which is back here. So I see that light mark because this is here. I'm not caring about the fur right now. And now that I feel good about this, I can go in and say, all right, if I have this and I really look, squint through my eyelashes to see the values, then all of this is colored. And this is colored, a little light that I'm going around. And up here is colored. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. So far, so good. I know this is colored. I know there's a little room up here. And I know stuff's going on, but I'm being general. I want to see if that's the right height again. So the eye's this big, and it's the same as this. The eye's this big. This is going here. I can bring it down a little. I can't go over here, put an eye on, and hope everything fits. So what I'm going to do is connect pieces. It's just like if you make a puzzle. When you make a puzzle, you put the border on. If you put a middle piece in and said, this is going to be exactly there, and you built the puzzle, your chances of that piece being there are pretty slim.
Yes, yes.
So I am not going to go elsewhere where it doesn't connect.
Yeah.
Everything has to connect to something else. Mm-hmm. So as much as I'd love to get over here, I'm going to work this ear up. It'll help me understand more about the piece. As you can see, he's a little easier to understand as I get the dark shapes on.
Yep, absolutely.
So I'm going back for another 6B. They're the least sharpened because they always break in the sharpener. All right, so I got this shape. I want this shape here. I want to see if I'm right. It should be about that far out from the eye. It is.
Yeah.
So see, those measuring things worked. So away we go. Now I want to know, the ear's kind of complex because it's got all sorts of lights, mediums, dark. I think I'm regretting that I picked Lucy. I should have got my gray and white cat. However, the dent
it's a good challenge for
now
you.
that I have the eye, the dent of the ear is right around here. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Good. And it's kind of about this height. Yep. So my preliminary pre-sketch is okay. When I squint, I see this really, really dark. Mm-hmm. And I see this. Now I want to come up, because generally speaking, this is colored in. Kind of like I did the beginning of this. I want to see where this is. Well, I know it's above the head. I already told myself where the lean is, and I'm checking this too. I'm still sitting within where I should be. And I can kind of say, okay, this seems to go about this far out. I'm on the light of the ear here. I've got a little piece of dark. Then I'm coming down like this. And I can look at this quarter and go, oh, okay, that's up here. So that way I was getting a little small. So stretch it out. I'm coming like this. When I go up, that's in about this far. So I can take it in a little more for that. I should be at the half. I am at the half. So it's always checking back. Then this black, look what it does. Yeah. It comes and connects to, yay, what I made before. It's always good when it works.
It's always good.
I've got a little thing here below the half. So I'm up too high. Just stretch it down, bring it over. I see a little piece like this. And sure enough, the back is where it's supposed to be. So it's a good day in the art studio. I've got this. I've got this. I've got something like this. When I squint, I see a big letter U.
Yeah, me too.
So when I talk about squinting, the reason that an artist squints is to be able to see the three values, light, medium, and dark. Anytime you have three values, you will have 3D. I would say three values equal 3D. So when I'm teaching, I tell people, well, squint through your eyelashes, because what that does is it gets rid of detail, which we're all hung up with. We always want the detail. Yeah. It gets rid of the detail and lets you see chunks of shapes and how they fit together. So when I'm squinting, I'm looking for the big black shape. When I squint and I look at this, and how I tell kids to squint, I go, pretend that your parents are checking to see if you're asleep, and you're looking at them through your eyelashes. So that's what
great.
I want.
That's great.
What I want
love
you to
it.
do here. I say, but don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
It's not a suggestion.
No, that's not. I want this piece because it's going to connect everything. It's going somewhere around here. And when I squint, it's easy for me to see. Look at that thing there. Yeah. Looks like a letter C.
Yep.
Or a cup So I see that because it's light. That means I have to color dark around it. Here we go here. This is going there. And it's becoming easier because my puzzle pieces are fitting. There's a little bit of color here.
Your puzzle pieces are fitting good.
Thank
Mine
you.
take a while. They're like, okay, that put pieces in the wrong place.
It gets faster, you know. Faster as you go.
Yep, nice.
This pencil's already worn down, so the soft pencils wear out fast.
Yeah.
I know I'm safe coloring all in here. Oh, that's not a soft pencil. The 6Bs are worth their weight in gold when they're sharp. I'm going to color this. I'm going to come down. Look, I'm safe coloring all that dark. All the way over to here. I don't know how high up to go, though, so I won't go too far. But I'm going to get rid of this whole quarter. Yay, see you later. I'm not worried about my strokes because we smooth the strokes with a tortillon or a stomp. So I'm just going to kind of get it in general to specific. When I look now, I can say, all right, well, when I squint, I feel like I kind of have this shape. I know I said I wasn't going to leave that mark, but I am going to kind of put it in, that little light dot. And when I squint, I go, oh, this dark goes to somewhere around here. I have to watch. I should be around the quarter. And I am, so I'm still safe. And I know this goes here. And I already said the chin ends, and I measured it to the eye. And I want to know where this white puff is.
Yeah.
It goes to the middle of the eye. So it's somewhere there. Notice I don't draw it. I just slice it to remind myself. I was just going to say, you're just, Yep. And it's about this height. So away we go. I feel good about this. This is looking good. And the more confident I feel, the more I can start pushing things into the paper. One thing that I need off of this triangle is that little piece, this little piece, some of these, because then it tells me whether I'm in the right place. You know, I can start to look at the spaces where it's not dark and kind of color like this. Now I'm on a kind of a guess for the placement of these. They'll probably change. So again, I'm going kind of light. I said the puff's here, so that's good. Puff's working.
Puff is working.
I don't want to go anywhere with it, but I kind of want to see that's somewhere around here, but it's also not at the, it's somewhere there, generally speaking. Now, I'm going to do some stomping. Okay, so I'm going to push this right into the paper nice. As I push it in, I'm going to start watching the outside shape of this, because I can start working with it. I notice that this isn't as wide as I say. This might need a little dark push here. I'm going to push on everything that's dark right now. I am looking at that. I'm not looking at just this. It's an 80-20 ratio. 80% of the time your eye should be here. You should only be glancing back.
Definitely.
That takes a lot of practice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that becomes... when I have students, I'm satisfied if I get a 30, 40. Did I say 30, 40?
You did say 35. You meant 37. We knew that.
I can't draw and talk. Well, I can draw and talk, but not as well. I'm coming in like this.
You're doing very well.
I'm pushing this. I'm taking it easy. I kind of want to make sure things are looking like they look. And this becomes a drawing tool because now I can say, all right, Lucy has a triangle pointing down stripe, and it points to that part of the eye. So this tool will do it. So it's not too dark. I also see a little shadow coming right there. Leaves the eye and goes to that height. And I should be within this, and I am. So away we go there. Now I'm coming up, and that automatically leads to this little guy, which tells me I'm in the right place because it goes to the edge of this.
And you are not using a pencil. You're using the stomp to push and draw.
Yep.
Okay.
Now I'm just going to just tint this in a little bit because it's not wicked dark. But it is not white, so I have to color it in. Yeah, making it nice and smooth. I'm going to go there. I'll give this outline a little bit. And even this is gently colored in.
So
right?
just less pressure on the stomp
much
at
less
this point.
Pressure, and a lot of pressure now. See how far into the ear that goes. Saying here, so that's looking good. Little loose coming out.
She is.
Yeah, she's getting there.
She's getting there.
As soon as I see this, I see a little bit of this brown right there. I haven't declared where the eye is yet, so I want to stay out of there. I can do a nice quick color down here and just kind of eliminate a lot of this. Because it's general to specific, I don't have to concern myself with the exactness of the fur. That comes later. This is all like this. And now I'm back to kind of like a guessing place. I do want to get a little more of this in so that I can move it around. I'll be going in with my eraser next to do the drawing with the eraser. Now, a great technique to know or be aware of, I'm just barely touching it now. I'm really just using the uncolored side of it just to kind of smush this in. I'm going to go in the direction the hair goes to make my job easier later. All right. So that's on there. Now, a great way to see if your drawing looks okay is to turn everything upside down.
Yeah.
Turning it upside down verifies that things are in the right place and that you are drawing shapes that fit together. You don't have to know what you're drawing at all. As a matter of fact, when I have an artist say to me, I can do cats, but I can't do people, then I know that they really are still trying to draw with shapes. And they're not with lines and descriptions, and they're not understanding that all it is puzzle pieces put together. I'm going to flip this over, and right away my brain will tell me if things look the way I thought they did.
Now, there's a book called Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain.
By Betty Edwards.
Yeah.
It is one of my reference books.
Yeah, one of my
I've never read the
favorites.
whole thing in its entirety, but I did some of the exercises early on. Now, I'm going to stare at it for a minute and give my brain a little relaxing time. Right away, I want to get the nose on. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can see so much more. So the nose, generally speaking, is a triangle with a bunch of stuff going on inside of it. So you want to know where the edge of the triangle is. Well, it's kind of there near that little thing. So I have that little thing. It's kind of here. So it's somewhere there. The edge of it, if my marks are right.
They've been pretty good so far.
I'm going to do this. The size of the eye is the same as eye to nose. Now, I can't take this over here. It's a different size. I measure this eye, and I go eye to nose. That's where the
Put you
corner
there.
is.
Yeah.
So that tells me exactly. X marks the spot. I already went this way. I want to know how wide it is. Is it one eye wide? Why? Yes, it is. How do I know that? I've drawn a lot of cats. So there we go. It's telling me it's over the half. It is. It feels good. Generally speaking, it's here. And I also, now that I know the height, I do want to see how long it is. This gets a little tricky because now you're shrinking everything up.
Yeah.
But this to this is about halfway through the pupil. Halfway through the pupil is this to this, and that's where the end of the nose is. I said, generally speaking, when I squint, it's a triangle. I know its edge is here. I know the other edge is there, so I'm safe. I'm not talking about anything that's in it yet. But I said initially it ends at a point, but it really doesn't.
No.
It ends like a frown or a hill or whatever you want it to be.
Circular.
You say it, Joni. What do you want it to be, Joni?
I know. I'm just saying it's rounded. It doesn't come to a sharp point.
And I'm coming to these, and they're in the right spot, so that's always nice. I come like this, and now that I have this edge, I can go, oh, the black is this close, and that close. And on this side, forget about it. But I have this, and it's about as low as it needs to be. But look, it needs to be closer. So I'm going to take it a little closer.
Yep.
And just slide it over. I'm not going to get obsessed with it. I'm just going to kind of move it. I want to get this little, now I can get the little cup on. So it's starting somewhere around here. It goes, flattens, and then it hits over here. And once I see that, I go, oh, why do I see this poof? Because of the dark. And away we go again. Okay, so I feel like, okay, let's take a good look at what else is going on. I want to refine the eye. I want to get some of this fur in. So I'm using kind of fur strokes, kind of watching how the fur grows. A really cool thing about drawing animals that I like to share is when you draw an animal's fur, an animal, when you're a little kid and you draw the sun, you put rays around it like this. When you go to draw an animal, hair grows like sun rays. And let me show you what I mean. Suppose, there, now we have a really weird sun. Suppose that's your animal.
This is an artist doing this, people. I love it. I love
like
it.
that? Is that
I
good?
do.
This is how I get the big bucks.
It's a masterpiece, let me tell you.
But if I'm drawing hair, the hair here goes up. At the top, it's straight.
Yep.
Here it turns. It comes out to the sides, and then gravity forces it down. So, see, sunray. So when I go to do hair, it's very cool. It's on every animal.
Looks like a line.
All of this will go up. This goes this way. These go out. And you can see it on a drawing. So that's just a nice way to remember how to do hair.
That's a good way.
So I'm coming like this. I want to see how high this is on the ear. And it's saying it's around here. I'm going to raise it up a little. How I know that is there's a little space that I don't quite have. Also, this shape is very cockeyed. This is different than this, the way it dips.
Yeah.
So this one kind of does a weird scoop that I've drawn. This one comes over, and it drops the same, and it drops around here. So we're good. I'm going to come around this, because I'm safe. All right? Remember I drew that little thing, so I'm still okay.
And that rounds out the forehead, too.
That's
See,
right.
everyone else would have just made that straight.
Oh, here?
Just flat. That white,
Oh, this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this leans, too, because it's coming up and around.
You can really see it upside down.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Also, I can come in here, and I'm going to get a little more specific on the nose. I know that it has a darkness here. It's like an oval. And a little line. See, a little dark with like a little badminton racket. Do you see it when you squint? A little racket with a handle. And here,
You're seeing things I never saw before, Susan.
Well, if you name it, we can draw it. We have
right.
symbols in our head. So It just makes it a little bit easier if you name it as something recognizable and easy to draw. I'm going to go in. I'm going to do this with the tiny cotillion. Yep. I'm going to push this stack in, put the badminton racket in. And I'm going to notice the shape. Notice it's all becoming one value.
Yeah.
I'm going to want to work on that a little bit. And how I'll do that is with the eraser, like I drew before. Now, there's two types of erasers. There's this one, Tough Stuff, which Papermate does no longer make. Comes in with a different name now. These have replaceable sticks. So once you get the handle, you can get these really easy. Getting the handle is a little more difficult. I can look up the name of what they sell under now, but they're no longer
I was going to
Tough
say,
Stuff.
online you can find just about anything.
You can.
Yeah.
So now I squint and I go, okay, well, why do I see these dark shapes? Well, I see the dark shapes because this isn't dark. But it's light here. And then it's got a little darkness in the middle. It's definitely light around this. It's got a little lean here. Come on. And then it's kind of just goes away like this. And I see a little line in the middle, and that means that these come down a little bit there and there. And that's about all I'm going to do for now. I'm not going to get in there and tweak this yet. I want to look at my eye, and I say, okay, I think the eye could use a little bit of light here, like I said. Look, I can start putting in some of this fur. And I can put in a little bit of this, not push as hard, and then these start coming out. Here's that stroke I was talking to you
The
about.
sunshine strokes.
That's right, sunshine strokes. Boy, I love that light over here. You're getting this, right?
We're paving new ground here.
Oh, boy. Here's the other light thing. This really doesn't have strokes to show, so I don't have to fuss with it. And then I can't go any further. I got myself backed into a corner. I can come here and work a little bit with this. Yeah, the triangle. But I want to get my little micron eraser. So they make smaller erasers. Here it is. And I'm going to put the AC on. I'm getting a little warm. Are you warm?
I'm comfortable, but you're doing all the work. Whoops, I almost dropped you. Working up a sweat. Okay, and while she is doing
I'll put her on a warmer temp.
Well, I'm okay. Whatever.
You don't have to
Nope.
freeze.
So whatever makes you comfortable, darling. So as she's getting her stuff, I'm going to move in just a little
Come
closer.
out here. Now look at this one. This one's really tiny.
That one is tiny.
Okay, it's called a mono.
Okay.
And same thing.
yeah, just
But look,
smaller.
it's got a little plastic
Yeah.
that it's on. So I clean them on my jeans.
Totally
because-
understand that one.
Do you do that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Texture cleans them better.
Yeah, texture does clean them better. I'm gonna now because it's small. I can get in here. I gotta make it a little shorter. 'Cause it's
Do you ever
floppy.
use a kneaded rubber eraser?
I do.
Okay.
That's what I'll be using to take all this
okay.
off.
Okay.
I'm going to come in here and I can start saying, all right. I'll go over here because it's a little bit easier. If I start at the edge of the ear, I can start to see where I need to take things. Like this shows up. This is a little tinted. It goes well down into the head. So I want to remind myself that by drawing that check mark there. And then that helps me get this piece. I just look, it goes to the middle of the eye. And look at it scoops and comes back somewhere near there. And I kind of had the beginning. I'm going to use a few strokes because charcoal does take a while. It's not as quick as some of my other mediums because it's more detailed. I mean, when you paint, you want it to be painterly. When you work in charcoal, it's a drawing. Look at how far in this comes onto the head. Way down in, and it's over here. So way down in, over here. Way it goes. I've got this also near it, doing this. I've got this really light. And this, I'm going to go get that kneaded eraser Joni was talking about.
Ta-da!
Because the kneaded eraser will take things off very gently.
Very gently. And while she's doing that, let's zoom right in here. And this is actually still upside down. She was working upside down.
I am. I'm going to
This
try.
is a kneaded rubber eraser.
Yep, they come square. Okay, and then what's nice about them is they are really good for smudges. They're not great for erasing. You wouldn't try to erase something
Heavy
small,
one, yeah.
but they're really good for smudges. To clean them, you just stretch them so you're getting whiter.
And when they won't come out white anymore, it's time for a new eraser, I decided. Because all the graphite gets stuck in there and the charcoal.
That's right. That's right. So now I'm going to kind of shape this like a drawing tool. I'm going to make it a little longer.
Yeah, sometimes I make them real pointy and do little areas.
And now I'm just going to squint and lightly erase. Look at how nice that is.
Nice.
It doesn't take it off the way the other.
Yeah, the harder eraser.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
then that, it also gets dirty, and I can move the charcoal around easily. So it becomes much easier to get my lights and darks on.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yep, here it comes.
Yeah.
And there's nothing else really that I feel like I want it on. But now that I have that, I can go in. This doesn't look like hair. So part of that is because I need to put some hair with dark, because this isn't as light as I said. I'm going to interrupt it with some haze. Interrupt this a little bit. And I'm going to push my dark on darker. This is darker now. I want to get that in there really well.
So what pencil is this? What are
I
you
just
using?
grabbed a 2B
Okay.
and push that in a little.
And you're just knocking off the residual stuff.
Yeah.
You're not beating up the board just to get out your aggression or
That's
anything.
all.
Okay.
No, I have better ways.
That's a whole different show.
That's not art at the Kneeland studio at all. That's all right.
That's a different show.
Look, I'm also going
altogether.
through what I erased.
Yeah,
because it doesn't
that's
look
nice.
real. And now that I do that, I go, oh, I can take some of this dark.
Yeah.
So you can travel with it. Bring it down in this the way I see it. And look at that's even darker. So I can push some of that on again. Come back here. And now I'm going to use my little micron and put in these hairs. And let me turn it.
Wow. Wow. Look at that. Lucy.
Lucy's coming.
Lucy is showing up.
Let's get some of these. So look at how far over they come.
Yes.
Way over to here. I don't
Yeah.
do it willy-nilly.
No, not after all the work you did on it.
Well, you have to do whiskers very fine.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they look contrived.
Yep.
And this piece just looks too strong. I'm trying to help it out a little. And I can see shapes a little bit better. These are very fine. And then, look. I'm really not, I would work more, because I really see that this kind of does a little melt out more. It's softer, a little bigger. You know, now I can kind of tweak things along. Get up here and make this a little bit better. I can put hairs in there, change the values. If I want this to show up more, I'll lighten what's beside it. And then so little things start coming in. I don't have to worry, unlike pastel, I don't have to worry about getting this on my fingers. It's just burnt wood. With pastel, you're working with pigments, and pigments can be toxic. Even though they're marked non-toxic, you want to be careful of that. This stripe goes down, but only goes this far out. I'm going to remind myself, you stop here. And there's that letter, that stretched out
U.
letter U, yep.
Yeah.
And there's this. So, I'm going to put the other eyeball on because I'm concerned about time.
Yep, you're just about at the 1 hour mark.
Ooh, okay. Yep, we're going to have to stop. Let me put this on there. You can see, you know, I'm anxious to get them on. These will be coming back off for the sake of the piece and the study. I want you to see how that would work. So
a little micron eraser.
I love that micron eraser. So, as I said before, if I want those marks to look lighter, that I draw darker
around them. Would you consider using a white charcoal pencil to put
Absolutely.
those whiskers?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
I would. A lot of times I don't because it can make, like I said earlier, it'll sully things.
Yeah.
But on this particular
you
piece,
did say that.
it actually could work.
Yeah.
And probably if I was doing this for a client, I definitely would have white charcoal going on.
Yeah, yeah, and that would bring out the white of the whiskers.
Oh yeah, it'd really exaggerate it.
Yeah.
And look at I'm coloring in between some of these so that
I
they
know.
show up. You know, and just kind of suggest it a little more. Make this a little more soft so it looks like the inside of the ear again.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Charcoal's fun. Charcoal's very, very freeing to me. I want this up more. Now I can see this even better. I see that there's something going on here, that this is a little closer than I said. And so even when you get in, you can still keep tweaking it. Keep looking at the shapes. This cuts down, this cuts over. That really isn't as light as I said. This has a little darkness under here. And I really want the shine, so I'll come in with this. I'll work this down a little bit.
And this is a thin stomp.
Yeah, this is a Titillion.
Oh, cotillion.
Yeah,
Titillion.
It doesn't matter. Stomp. Some call them stomps. Some
I
call them
know,
stumps.
stumps. I know, they're all
Some
different.
don't call them at all.
Yeah, this is true.
But
A
they are-
blending
they're
tool.
and drawing tools, you know,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
as you can see, I've used it to draw quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I feel like, okay, I've described this a little bit better, I want to bring the light back. But I still see a little bit of that pupil here. Come on. And I'll use this little thing and go, okay, you are very bright here, less bright there, really nice right there. So I have to stay there a second and coerce it in. And this is really where you start to get the look of the kitty, you know, the values are better. And onward and onward. This needs to be a little lighter. You know, now that I've turned the other way, I can see it this way and tweak it a little bit more. Let's get that middle line a little thinner. But I keep it dark, so it is dark. Before I finish for today, I do want to get the other eye on.
Yes.
So I already said its height and its width, but that was to this early on. I need to compare it to that now that I've made that commitment. This to this is that to that. This to this is that to that. Now, here we are, back at where I was before. Generally speaking, it goes up a hill. I've already told myself where the bottom is. I just need to come around. But I want to check with the nose, too. I need to slide it over a little more.
bit.
Yep, over here. And I want to see, it looks a little more narrow. It's a little more narrow, but I don't want them to look demented, so I'm not going to do that. But I will say here. Now, this is going to kick other things over. Okay, so this is going to get this probably over a little bit more. Got all that nice dark there. And we've got the same little hill going on. So if I've got this here, this side drops a little, see it?
Yep.
And it has a little lump. And this heads to there, so I'm good there. This is all dark.
That gives her
And
her
then it
forehead.
heads in. And this gives me a whole opportunity to go, okay, let's get some more red so that I can more readily make sure I'm where I need to be with Lucy. That lines up with this. Up we go. This ear is slightly taller than that one. I've already said that. Around it goes. It drops straighter than we think. Generally speaking, when I squint, look at when you squint. There you go. It's all dark here. It's all dark here. how wide is that? This to this is that to that.
The bottom.
This to this is that to that. The face needs to go out that
A little
much.
bit. Yep.
This sticks out this much more than the face. Boom. That little lump out is across from this. And I can kind of see that this has, it does this, like it tucks in way down here, comes off, comes out, and then it goes up. Now, just seems to be in the right place. So I'll go in and I'm going to color this in with a light pencil. I'm going to make sure that it's where it needs to be. So look at, it has to come down.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
down we go. Down we go. So see, by not locking in too soon, it's more easy,
Right.
easy to move things around. There's always adjustments. I don't care how long you've been doing it. The whole part of art is get it on and fix it.
And then fix it.
Yep, get it
Yeah.
on and fix
I said
it.
that to one of the students. I said, Susan Chapman says. They didn't quote it.
It's, you
Because
know,
the student thinks it should just be perfect. And, you know.
yep, it's just not happening.
Yeah, it's not happening.
So I'm going to just stomp this in and probably let it be for today. And what I'll do is show you the completion. And that's what we have to figure out, how we're going to show you the completed work, because I did finish the portrait from the last one. And Joni and I are figuring out where we're going to put the completed works. But I will complete this because I want people to see the finished product. You know, it's one thing to watch it, but it's like, well, how did that ever turn out?
How'd that ever turn out?
It kind of looked weird the last time I saw it.
Yep, and I think that we can take some photos and have our awesome web person put them up on the website and Facebook.
Debbie Shirley,
Debbie
thank you.
Shirley, and you can do a commentary and say, look at this is what happened here, blah, blah, blah. Sound
And-
reasonable?
And if you draw, you can post yours and show us.
Oh, that would be
You know,
awesome.
what did you get out of it? Did you try it? Did you like it? Hate it? What did you think? Oof, too big. Too big, too dark. Did you see little Lucy showing up?
You can see her showing up. For sure.
Let me take this out. You know, I can take some of my weird marks out so that she doesn't look too strange. I'd come back in here, same thing as before, figure out what's going on, what the shape is. Why don't I see the whole pupil? It's because light interrupts it. She's got little pieces of light here. She's got some white under this, but it doesn't go all the way, kind of fades. Goes up and outside, unlike the other eye. There's another one over here. There's like a double whammy. And I feel like I want to make the eye more beautiful, so I'm going to lighten it up a little bit more than it needs to be. Cut this over a little more so that all the adjustments
Fix
come
the
in.
light.
And here comes the pupil again. I will confirm it. I do see a little something in here. So I want to kind of carry it up. This would be getting specific, which eventually we do. All of this is colored from there. She's got that little lumpy, tweaky thing. This stays like that. This goes like that. And this, to me, looks too short. Something's wonky.
Oh yeah, curve
This-
a little different maybe.
This to there
Yeah.
is edge of the eye to there. Edge of the eye to there is this to there. Huh, it's not wonky.
It's not.
I thought it was.
Well, at this point, you're probably rushing a little bit too. So.
Yep, I'm moving.
Yeah. But you can tell that is Lucy,
That's
for sure.
So let's, are we good?
Yeah, I was going to say let's stop there and again, we'll take pictures of your finished work because it's difficult to actually finish something in an hour. and we'll post them up on Facebook and on the website. So the website for Greater Haverhill Art Association is www.greaterhaverhillartassociation.org. Okay, and I don't know if you're putting them up on your website, maybe?
I haven't yet.
Okay, so you could actually consider doing that as well. And you are, tell them how they can get a hold of you, my darling.
My website is www.susankneeland.com, and that's spelled with a silent K, Kneeland.
Okay, awesomeness, awesomeness. So we're
Do
going
you want
to
see the portrait?
Yeah, we can do a quick there, and then also I'd like to take a snapshot of it as well. But let's, for those who are kind of following your demos and whatnot, this is the picture that you did in our last demo. And what's the model's name again?
This is Mindy, and it's a monochromatic acrylic.
Okay, this is an acrylic. Okay, light. Let there be light. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Nice, nice. Little bit.
And that was done on July 23rd.
Okay, all right. And I will actually take a snapshot as well, and we'll put it up. And make sure that you check out all the demos, okay, on the website. All right, so we're going to try and talk Susan into putting them on hers, but we'll also keep them up on the
Yeah,
GHA
mine will get
website.
up eventually, but my
Okay.
website is really loaded, so
Yeah,
but,
mine is
I
too.
have to look around.
Yes,
through it.
yes.
I update everything all the time and add on, but
You can
it's
see
a
her
hefty,
through the swing.
It's a hefty website.
It's a hefty, all right. I'll tell you, mine is like 20 zillion years old. I'm thinking.
I
right,
update
it's-
all the time.
Oh my
I move
God,
them
I
around.
do
and
not.
Put my current exhibits on.
I love it.
So
Okay, my
it should
darling.
be updated.
Thank you,
very
thank you
much.
so very much.
Thank you for coming today, and
Yeah,
I'll
very
see you in
welcome.
2 weeks. I'll be
Yes.
demonstrating a drawing to be announced of white colored pencil on black paper.
So the opposite of what we did today.
Exactly.
I love it. All right, thank you again.
Thank you, Joni.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. It's too bright. This one, this. I've got some details here I don't want to mess with yet. And now I'm just going to kind of give you a little bit of this, hold something there, and then this comes over this. And that's how I knew to move the eye over, because this shape here is what's over the nose. So that tells me, move my eye. So I move my eye. Now I just go in and I go, okay, light, medium, dark. Generally speaking, at the bottom it's like this, it splits from itself. I've already given myself the size, so the front work's done. Up we go here, over we go. It's out, it seems to be cut off a little here, there. And for the pupil, generally speaking, I see something like this. Does he look crazed? Yeah. I'm looking at the shape between here.
Yeah.
I see shadow down here. And again, like I say over and over, generally just specific.